That's what James says. And then he says sincere. The word sincere actually means not wearing a mask. That's the meaning of that word. So wisdom from above is first pure, peaceable, gentle, open to reason, full of mercy and good fruits, impartial and sincere. That's what he talks about, the characteristics of the earthly wisdom and the divine wisdom. Now look at the source. We've already said that. 15. When there is jealousy and selfish ambition in your hearts, this wisdom comes down from above, but does not come from above, but is earthly, unspiritual and demonic. Look at the description. Now we need to ask ourselves, in our relationship with one another, how do people identify, are we people with earthly wisdom or divine wisdom? We need not go around and tell people. People can make out. Are we people who are partial? Are we insincere? Are we people who take sides? Are we people with a hidden agenda? Are we people who are so jealous and we are bitter because the other person is prospering and I just can't handle it? James says, be careful. He says that kind of a wisdom is earthly. And he says it's a demonic wisdom. You know why? Because if you read in Isaiah, they wanted to be gods. And the Lord pushed them down. And remember in the Garden of Eden, when Satan came and told Eve, if you eat this, your eyes will be open. Now, it is demonic. It is not divine wisdom. So, earthly wisdom is unspiritual and it is also demonic. But then he says the other wisdom is divine. Verse 17. But the wisdom from above, that is heavenly wisdom, is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, open. So there are two kinds of wisdom and actions, the contrast between two things. Ch3 says there is a difference between being wise, unwise and otherwise. He puts it so beautifully. He says you and I need to ask ourselves in our relationship with one another, where do we stand? Where do we stand? And then he talks about the results. Verse 16. For where jealousy and selfish ambition exist, there will be disorder and every vile practice. Now I want us to discuss, if you don't name any particular group or anything, but what have you seen whenever there is an unrest in a particular family or a group or a church or meetings? What are some of the things that stands out? Huh? Blame. What else?
Strife.
Huh? Strife. Gossip. Jealousy.
Stop talking to each other.
Stop talking to each other. Anger. Misunderstanding. Pulling down each other. Now, it's good. It's always good for us to look at what is happening around us. But let's apply it very personally. Is there a dispute within our families? Are we able to get along with our brothers and sisters? When there is confusion, am I adding to it or am I a peacemaker? Can the family recognize here is a person, wow, she is coming, he is coming, not to destroy, not to create confusion, but they are coming, let's sit and talk it over, they will make sense. I don't know. We need to ask ourselves a question, because many homes, there is so much of struggle going on. The brothers don't talk to each other, there is a struggle between husband and wife, parent and child, and we need to ask, God has called us to be people who are peacemakers. Where do we stand tonight? Can they recognize that we have a divine peace? And then he says in verse 18, and a harvest of righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace. Now look at James chapter 1. Verse 20. Could someone read?
For man's anger does not bring about righteous life God in life.
Man's anger does not bring about the righteousness of God. But here you find there is a harvest of righteousness sown in peace by those who make peace. So when there is peace in an environment, in a community, where there are people who make peace with one another, there is a harvest of righteousness. It does not happen when there is anger. So who is wise? The one who maintains that kind of a relationship with one another. Not intellectual, not intelligence, not the words that they use, not accumulation of knowledge. A wise person is one who's got purity of heart, no ulterior motive, says it as it is, does not create trouble. And if there is trouble, he jumps in to sort it out and brings in peace. And they will always look at you and say, this is a peace-loving person. Or are they saying, where there is confusion, there is Benjamin? Not true. Because some of them are gifted in it. Because the Bible says, every time Hannah went to the temple and came back. Who is the other lady? What's her name? Penina. Every time Hannah went and came back, she asked her, went on asking. So, what happened? What's the use of going? You know, some people are gifted in irritating. But God is calling us to maintain that peace. I don't know. And we need to ask ourselves the question this evening. How does my family look at me? The church, does it come with age? No. It comes in my relationship with the living God. The deeper I get in my relationship with the Lord will grant me wisdom. It is out of fear for the Lord. Fear the Lord, the beginning of wisdom. Pray, read the Word. And in our relationship with Jesus Christ, He grants us wisdom. What is your source of wisdom? Earthly or divine? What is the result of my wisdom? Is it pure, sowing righteousness, peace, or has it brought destruction and pain? Let us pray.